This is Caffeine and Coils, and I'm Deanna.
And I'm Jenny.
And we have a special guest with us today. Do you want to introduce yourself?
My name's Ariela Vega, and I'm here as a 17-year-old national champion.
Wow.
National champion. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about that and what that title means.
So that title means that along with being a national champion, I am the first woman to ever hold that title, which honestly means a lot to me, and I want it to be an inspiration to kind of other young girls. But this started back in, I would say, like September of 2025. That's when we held our local competition, and I placed third at that event. And from there, went on to regionals, in state, and now nationals.
That's amazing. So amazing. And you just won that title like a week ago,
yeah,
right?
It was like a week ago.
Does it feel real yet?
Honestly, I'm kind of like in the state where it's like it doesn't feel real, honestly, because I mean, it was a process like just so kind of long, and it took a lot of hard work, and just for me to be announced as the first place winner, it was just so satisfactory to know that my hard work, it truly did pay off.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So walk us through how you first got interested in HVAC and why it was something you sought out.
So this started back in my freshman year. When I came into high school, I had to apply to get into the magnet program that is at my school, Cobb Innovation Technology Academy. And I originally went into carpentry. I was trying different things, and by recommendation by friends, and just hearing how like of a good teacher my professor is, Mr. Martin is, that kind of just intrigued me, and I tried out my second semester freshman year. HVAC, like introduction to HVAC, and honestly, I haven't changed my mind ever since. I just fell in love with the course. I kept taking classes. I've gotten different certifications, and it's just such a wide variety of things to do, and it honestly just encapsulated me.
Yeah, I love that it's something that just interested you, that you tried and you liked, and it's not something that was like pushed on you by a parent or anything like that. Like, I really love that you got into it organically.
Yeah, absolutely. My parents, they're very supportive, but when I told them about the program, they were just kind of curious, and they kind of see how I kind of like hold myself, and how I'm kind of a responsible kid, so they really just put it onto me to decide whether I want to go college or trades or any type of field, as long as it makes me happy.
That's awesome.
I'm sure they know who to call when it gets too hot or too cold.
Definitely,
in the house.
yes.
They're like, great, we have our built-in HVAC fixer.
I know, right?
So what, you said carpentry. Were there any other trades that you tried before HVAC?
No, so I went into that intro to, I think it was like construction class, and I was doing a lot of framing work and construction work, and I just really didn't think it suited me.
Yeah.
So that's when I started talking to different friends and stuff, and in the intro to construction for the HVAC pathway, they try a lot of different stuff, which I think that's what really gets the kids kind of engaged. They get like a little bit of like electrical carpentry and the actual HVAC. So it's like kind of like in that class it was diverse, whether in my class it was like just basically just like a lot of framing and construction work.
So what part of that experience really made you love specifically HVAC in this trade?
So once I figured out that it just had a lot of different variety in the trade itself, I mean, there's so many open doors within HVAC. That's what I kind of loved. I kind of loved that I had options. I mean, I could go to college to be like an engineer or whatnot and still work in the industry, or I could just go straight into the field and make a good career, either or. So I think that's what really kind of engaged me, and just seeing how a lot of technicians, they see something different every single day. There's so many different parts to work on, and I love that it's something new to me.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit here on the podcast, about how this industry kind of offers like a good variety for all kinds of different people with different skill sets. So, you can really do a lot of different things with HVAC. It's not just like technician or owner.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I love about it.
So for anyone who's never heard of Skills USA, can you explain what that is and what the competition looks like?
Yeah, so Skills USA is an organization, and they provide much hands-on work for upcoming individuals, like young people as myself. And the competition, what it kind of looks like for nationals, it is kind of like a tough competition, You can have competitors of all 50 states, but in my division, which was high school, I had around only 20 or 25 of, all states from the United States. And it was kind of tough. I had definitely a brazing portion. Troubleshooting was a big portion. Handling refrigerant was heavily in the competition. And honestly, it was just, a long process. But I love how Skills USA, there's so many different competitions and kind of pathways within that organization. It feels like they have something for everybody. And that's how I would describe it. If you don't know what kind of path you want to take, Skills USA is a great opportunity to learn something new and kind of challenge yourself.
Okay, I need to back up for a second. You mentioned there was 25 people in your portion of.
33.
So 33 people actually competed.
Yeah.
33 states. You beat all 33 of those people.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
amazing.
It is
That's
amazing.
That's something to be so proud of.
Definitely.
So what is it like? You have these different events, you get scored, and at the end, whoever has the best score wins, I'm assuming.
Yes, definitely how you handle, like, your safety procedures, because, on these kind of stations, you're working with live equipment, 240 volts, you can get shocked.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
definitely how you handle stuff, how, like, the process and how you take, like, a procedure to identify the issue, you get scored out from that. And it's kind of like stations where it's like you rotate and you have a certain time limit, so you are timed within these stations.
So I know we went through the process when we first started the podcast. We decided we were going to get EPA 608 certified for refrigerants.
Yeah.
Is that something, like, do you guys have to have, like, a portion of your classes to be able to compete and handle the refrigerant? Do you have to have something like that for Skills USA, or are they okay just because they have other folks there that know and probably are certified?
So I'm not sure if it's necessary to be certified. I personally am universally certified with the EPA 608. So I don't think that came up, but they do have people that work for the ESCO Institute, and they do definitely have the judges that work for, like, these big companies. I would assume they're definitely certified as well.
That makes
Okay.
sense. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes,
we are also universal certified
that's
too,
awesome,
so that's
yes.
good. So what was the hardest part of the competition? You mentioned a couple different categories that you had to compete on. Which one was the hardest for you?
So there's so many different stuff where it's like if you're not trained on it, you're going to have a hard time, within this competition. Luckily, I have an amazing professor that, goes over these things and, really just kind of builds me for the best. But I would say stamina. That
Yeah.
isn't exactly within the competition,
Yeah.
but you do have to have stamina. You do have to be patient because, we started like at 8 a.m. I didn't come out until like 2 p.m. And it's like you have to kind of know how to endure these, like, stations and the waiting times. So that was definitely the hardest part for me. But station-wise, I'd say kind of knowing how to properly handle refrigerant, it was the toughest. And especially because you have to do it within a certain time frame. It kind of puts pressure on you, but, I mean,
Yeah.
I try not to let, like, nerves or anything get to me in that moment.
Well, that's good. So what's it like to be a young woman in the program?
Within my program at CETA. So in the actual program, I find it to be very inclusive, especially since my professor, he is kind of just focused on all of us. Once he sees that a student is willing to put in, like, the work and kind of just do, like, maximum effort, he's going to give that back 10 times as
Yeah.
much. So I really find that honoring. But in my class, I believe I am the only girl, but I mean, I met a lot of great students who are just willing to learn and eager to learn, just like me. And, at the end of the day, you kind of find out that you have something in common with all these students, and you guys just, at the end of the day, want to learn how to
Yeah.
be in these trades.
So of the 33 people that you competed against last week, how many other were female? Were you the only one?
So in my division, it was me and another young lady in high school, but then in the post-secondary, there was two young ladies there also.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Have you ever had a moment where you felt like people underestimated you because of your age or your gender?
Definitely. I mean, it's inevitable, and I know that. And I know that I can't control what anybody thinks or says.
Yeah.
I can only control myself and how hard I work and my actions. So I definitely try not to, like, kind of give into it, because people are going to have their beliefs and opinions, whether you're doing something right or wrong. I mean, it's inevitable.
That was an amazing answer. I love
Yeah.
that answer.
And I also think it's something that comes along with the trades. Like,
Definitely.
they're, especially with the age thing, I feel like a lot of the old timers are just very set in their ways, and they're a little bit judgmental towards the younger
Yes,
crowd.
definitely. Even if you're a young, like, man, let's say,
Yeah.
even if you're young, people are always going to have something to say. And it's like, that I could let it impact me and impact my performance, or I can push past it and just ultimately work to be the best version of myself, because at the end of the day, I want to be somebody like, employers see as reliable,
Yeah,
honestly.
that's awesome. So, has winning a national title changed how people treat you or talk to you in that space? I know it's only been a week, but.
So I could go back to also winning state, because that was also a
Mhm.
big accomplishment too. So it's kind of like the same kind of ideal, but I would say people get surprised, honestly. Like, I know family, friends, they get really surprised and they, encourage me. And I would say kind of like people that work in the business and the trades, I think they also just get surprised. I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like personally, I'm not trying to brag or kind of like, come into this industry kind of thinking very, full of myself, because I did wish like a big accomplishment, but that doesn't define who I am. I mean, I have a bunch of stuff still that I want to accomplish. And, even though this is great for my career, I want to keep improving. And, I
Yeah,
don't want anybody to see me as just, oh, the national champion, I want to do more.
that's awesome.
So if you had a younger woman come up to you and say she was thinking about getting into HVAC, what would you tell her?
So I would definitely say, if you're thinking about getting into HVAC, I would say keep an open mind. There's going to be setbacks along the way, but if you don't find the HVAC is, the career for you, that doesn't mean that you have to steer away from the trades entirely. I mean, I started in carpentry. I didn't, really suit me, so I tried something else, and I think that's the most important part, is that just trying something new, it'll give you challenges, and I take challenges just as a new opportunity to learn, honestly. So I would say, keep an open mind and just be ready for, whatever life throws at you.
That's good advice.
Yeah, it is. What do you wish that someone would have told you before you started this journey?
Well, I can start with saying I did not imagine I would be a national champion,
Mhm.
honestly, until September when I placed it local. Nobody really told me how, like, vigorous the trades is, kind of.
Mhm.
You really have to be kind of tough and just, ready to embrace every challenge, which I think if you have a good work ethic, you'll be able to adapt to every challenge that comes your way. But definitely, I've had some people that just, give me great advice, especially the school, our faculty and staff. They're just, very honorable people. And I think, the teachers, they work really hard to set their students up for the best in their future.
Yeah, that's really good.
So what does it mean to you to be the first female national champion?
So to me, I kind of wanted to be an inspiration to other young ladies and to the youth in general, because I know the trades, as more people retire, they need new, young folks who are willing to do the work. So as, being the first national champion, it honestly means that I want other young ladies to honestly get inspired and, come and be willing to do the work, because this is a, industry where it's like, as long as you have the drive and the eager and the work ethic,
Mhm.
it's doable. I worked super hard to be in the position that I am right now, that at this point I don't think anything is impossible as long as I work hard enough for it.
I love that. I love
You're
that
so
answer.
inspirational.
I know, right? I'm like, oh my gosh.
So, what do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you see yourself maybe becoming a technician and running service calls, or would you like to run a business, or like you said, maybe getting to the engineering side?
So yeah, I am kind of indecisive. I have definitely thought about going to college for engineering to be,
Mhm.
actually into engineering, like big units and stuff. But I know to be an engineer, you have to have experience. Like, there's a lot of times where I'll go on calls and I'm like, man, this is like tough to get to. I'm like, I just question, like, who engineered this? So I think it's definitely important, and it would be great if I have personal experience in the field for at least a couple years.
Yeah, for
That's what
sure.
I definitely want to do before I even consider going to college for an engineering degree. But in 5 to 10 years, definitely see myself doing like an apprenticeship where I get experience. I would definitely love to get my hands on different types of units, like chillers, package units, all kinds of stuff. I'm really just open to whatever this industry holds for me.
Yeah. And like you said, keep an open mind, and you can always change your mind later. You can do
Yeah.
one thing for a few years and then move on to something else. You don't
Yes,
have to
exactly.
stay, in one place.
When you think about that job and what kind of employer you want to work for someday, what matters most to you?
I think it's the golden rule of honor. Have you guys heard of that? I think it's like treat somebody how you would want to be treated. That's a
Mhm.
big thing within the trades. honestly, I'm a young female. I'm 17 years old, and coming into this trade, people can oftentimes, underestimate me, but I just want to be treated like how they would treat anybody else, because that's ultimately what I'm ready to be treated as and how I want to be treated, because I actually want to get to work. I want to do the
Yeah.
dirty and tough work, no matter who I am. And I think they should treat everybody like that, no matter how they identify it as. It's like if you have that work ethic within you, I don't see why you can't just do what you love to do, because I honestly do love to be in this industry.
Yeah, I think that's maybe one thing that we don't really talk about when we talk about females being in the industry is it's not just maybe like a negative connotation, but also people want to try to do the harder things for you, or they don't
Exactly.
want you to have to lift this or crawl under this crawl space or whatever. They try to make it easier on you, but you really want to do all
Yeah.
the work, not
Exactly. Like
just the
that's
easy
what
stuff.
makes you a great technician is you
Mhm.
get into these difficult positions and you fix them yourself. And I believe that's very satisfactory. And I don't want to be kind of like coddled or whatever in this
Yeah.
industry, I want to be treated just as a normal worker. I think that's the main goal. And that's what I look for in an employer, just somebody who just respects and treats all of their employees fairly.
Yeah. I would hope that we're far enough along here with, people with women entering the industry that maybe it's less severe than it used to be.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I don't know. Is there anything about the HVAC industry that you would like to change?
Oh boy. Definitely I just want more women to be in this
Yeah.
trade. I want more women to be in this trade because a lot of women see it as like, oh, that's a man's job. That's, I can't do
Mhm.
that. And it's like, who said you can't do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm a very good testimony to that this work can be done and achieved by hard work and just due diligence, because I have a drive to be, somebody that's great in this industry. So definitely I would want to change like how a lot of older technicians, I can't change how anybody thinks, but I can definitely just do the work and prove myself as a person. And that especially prove myself to myself at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
What's one thing you want people, especially young women, to take away from your story?
As I said that, this really wasn't anything that had to do with talent or luck. The position that I am today, I earned it by hard work. I mean, to get just to be in the national like qualifying, I practiced a lot for state, and then afterwards for state, I mean, I had been practicing since I think March until literally the day before I went into competition. And it was just long hours, Monday through Saturday some weeks, where I would just put in the work, and I knew at the end of the day I would be coming out like tired and just kind of like, oh man, but I mean, it really paid off once I heard my name on that podium. And I really want this to be a takeaway that no matter what kind of industry you get into, it doesn't have to be the trades or anything. As long as you provide a good work ethic and, a good representation for yourself, I think that will take you really far in your future and your career.
That is like such
I
good
know.
advice, man. There's hope after all, y'all.
I know, this is amazing. This is a great episode. So what would you say to someone who maybe wants to enter competition, but they're scared? They're worried, well, what if I place last?
Don't be scared, because this started back in September, my local competition, and I had no really idea that I would even place. I was completely shocked. And what I was saying to everybody, to all my friends, to myself, is I'm just happy to be here. Because either way, if I didn't
Yeah.
place, I got to partake in such a great competition, and it was really greatly organized. And I got to meet a lot of great people. I met my future employers there, so I think that was overall a great opportunity just to see kind of who I am and what I can do. And it was a complete shock that I even placed. I got third place, but I mean, it was just a great opportunity to learn, and I'm just happy that I took the initiative.
Yeah, even just participating in the competition, you're doing better than the person who's not
Exactly.
participating at all.
Yes.
So how did you become just so well-spoken and know all these wisdoms? Do you is this
Yeah.
your second time on Earth, or what is?
No, I think everybody says I'm well spoken, and I think it's because I genuinely believe everything I say. And
Uh-huh.
this is stuff that I say to my family and friends. I have siblings, and they're kind of still indecisive what they want to do with their future, and I just give them advice. I just tell them work ethic is the bone to success. And I generally just speak, from my heart that this is stuff that I believe in. This is stuff that I apply to my everyday. It's not just a act or anything.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be performative. It's just something that I truly believe in, and I just want to give other people, advice, because this isn't a situation where it's like, oh, I'm the national champion,
Mm-hmm.
I
You're
don't
not
want
walking around with like a belt around your shoulder.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from anybody else's experience, I'm not going to compete next year for that same reason, because I want other people to experience the greatness of what it actually means.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is so admirable.
Are you the oldest out of your siblings?
No, I'm the middle child.
Oh, okay. You were giving me older sister vibes.
Really?
Yeah.
I think, the middle child definitely also had something to do with all this, because, I'm very independent from a young age.
Yeah.
My parents, they give me a lot of freedom to be who I want to be, and because they see that I do what I'm supposed to, so it definitely has a lot to do with who I am today.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Kind of a middle child thing.
Yeah, it is. I have middle child syndrome.
Well, do you have anything else that you want to say before we get into our game? Like any other words of wisdom or?
No, I think I'm fine. I mean, I truly do believe in what I say, and I want other people to take this as, not just something that it has only to be applied to the HVAC industry. This is something that can be applied to any industry they want to do, college route or not. Just, embracing yourself and kind of being a hard worker, it really pays off.
I just want to say one more thing. You are the first time we've ever had anyone of high school age, or anyone under the age of 18 come on with us. And I think this has been the best, most inspirational podcast we've recorded thus far. And we've been at this for almost 3 years.
Wow, that means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so well-spoken, you're so mature, and I think you have a really good head on your shoulders.
I think you have a bright future ahead of you, too.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hopefully I keep it up.
And now you're going to be famous because you're on the podcast. Okay, so for our game, I'm going to it's going to be kind of like are you Gen A? Gen
I think
Alpha?
I'm Gen Z.
You're Gen Z, okay.
Gen Z, yes.
Gen Z versus millennials kind of thing, okay?
Oh, no.
This is just kind of like a discussion more than anything, but in terms of learning a trade, who do you think had it harder getting into the trades? Us millennials that were fighting the go to college or else kind of stigma, or Gen Z where you guys have TikTok and YouTube making everyone think they can DIY everything?
I would definitely say, from what I've seen, maybe you guys, because what I've seen is, even in my school, I mean, apart from the HVAC pathway, they have carpentry, construction, welding, automotive. There is so many good opportunities that students have nowadays. I mean, it's so easily accessible, but it just depends on the student how badly you want it. So I think definitely that portion makes it a lot easier on us finding jobs and, getting into, what we truly like. Because in my school, let's say, like me, I didn't like carpentry, so I tried something else. That's the greatest part. I know a lot of people that they got into an industry and they kind of don't like it at the end of the day. And, that could be tough, mentally and stuff. But, I mean, there's so many great opportunities for the new generation, and it all just depends on how badly you want it. So I would say that's why it's a bit easier on us.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of play off of that, too. Now, I went to a more rural high school, so they kind of have pivoted now, and they have, more agriculture and more different tracks and different pathways. We had print class. That was it. And now if you think and you look at where we are with print things, it's kind of, it's not as big as it was then. And it's kind of sad because we didn't have automotive, we didn't have shop class, we didn't have a lot of those options unless we traveled to our local tech school to get them. And that wasn't always a great option for everyone because a lot of us didn't have transportation to get there and things like that. So I think we've kind of pivoted as a whole back to some of the trades, and we've had there's been a lot of conversation around the college versus trade, and that has come to light a lot more, I think, in the last 5 to 8 years when, obviously I've been graduated for quite a while now from high school, but those conversations really weren't happening, and those opportunities just really weren't there for us.
Exactly.
It also felt really rigid. So when I was in high school, which was before you were even born, um, when I was in high school, it was like you're going to go either college prep or tech prep.
Yeah.
And it was like you could switch between, I guess. You could go down one, like you could go to tech prep afterwards, but it would be harder for you to go into college prep if you changed your mind halfway through because the credits didn't transfer, and it just felt like a solid decision. Like you had to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it felt like so high stakes. And
Yeah.
I feel like now your generation has a little bit more freedom and there's just more opportunities to experience different
And there's
things.
a lot
Exactly.
less stigma around it too.
Right,
Because
yeah.
like when I was in high school, it's like, oh, you're tech prep? Like, you know what I mean? Like it was kind of like that.
It was like a
Yeah.
negative connotation.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
more of a negative connotation with it.
Yes, definitely.
But now I'm like, shoot, if you could have told me that, I would have saved all that money. Like,
Yeah, I hear that all the time, honestly, and it's really, it just depends on the student, because even in my school, we have like a whole different side apart from construction. We have like a medical like side field.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
really
And
cool,
that
yeah.
provides a lot of different opportunities for those students who really want to learn. And I say just to take advantage of it,
Yeah.
that's what I see it as. I'm part of this program, but I mean, I want to take advantage to its fullest, because this is something that can, your future relies on it at the end of the day, if this is really what you want to do. I think nowadays people are realizing that, college isn't the only way you can be successful in life,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you have so many different options, and it's just all about taking advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now this topic is job hunting. What do you think's worse, applying with a paper resume or submitting into the black hole that is like online applying?
What do you mean by black hole?
Like, it just feels like if you apply to jobs,
Oh,
you're
right.
just one of so
Yeah,
many,
overlooked.
and you get overlooked, and you just have so much competition, and they just have robots looking at your resume, and it doesn't feel like you're really getting a true review of your skills.
Yeah. So you said what's worse?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely the black hole. Because I think I met my employers by the school. So definitely I got to make that personal like relationship, and definitely
Mhm.
network my way like into, kind of for them to see who I am, and definitely help that I'm the national champion now.
Yeah.
Definitely. And we have like this thing in my school. It's like mock interviews. So that's where like a bunch of different companies and employers and contractors, they come in, volunteering, and students, they dress like, professionally. They bring
Mhm.
resumes, and they talk to these people. So in their future, they're ready for, an
Oh,
interview.
that's so good.
So that set us
know.
up real good. And I brought a paper interview. I brought a paper resume.
Yeah.
So
Wait, what school is this? Because they are so far ahead of
Actually
where
wanna go
we
back.
were like 20 years ago. I'm so impressed.
it's called Cobb Innovation Technology Academy. It's right on Windy Hill in Marietta. So it works like a magnet program. You have to apply to get in, and you can choose your pathway and what you want to do. And they're actually opening up a second building in Alatoona, like kind of like
Okay.
Ackworth area. And I think we'll be doing like the ribbon cutting sometime next month. So they'll have completely different pathways. So there's a lot of variety now
That's
coming
great.
in.
It feels like they're actually really preparing you
I
guys.
know,
Yes,
yeah. These
definitely.
kids are really getting a
Yes.
really good start.
Yeah, and what my school says, they promote a lot of hands-on work. That's their big thing. And I think some people don't actually kind of like take into detail what that actually means. And when they say like hands-on work, we're talking about real like work skills.
Mhm.
These teachers, they themselves, some of them have been in the field for years, and they come and they teach what you'll actually see in the real world.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to come and teach these students, and it's such a great opportunity.
All right, this one is communication at work. What is worse, texting your boss or having to call them?
Texting for sure. I know a lot of people nowadays, even older employers, they kind of steer away from texting. And some of them themselves, like, they kind of take a while to text back, Sometimes they don't even see it.
Uh-huh.
So definitely, I'm a big fan of calling people. I love calling people,
That's good. Because I mean, maybe the tide is turning, because I feel like millennials hate calling.
Yeah.
Really?
We're more
Yeah.
texters.
Yeah.
But I think that the younger generations are getting more towards, like, getting to the point.
Yeah.
You'd rather just, like,
Yes.
call and get it over with.
'Cause it's such a
instead of, like,
drag.
a back and forth or
Exactly.
waiting. Yeah.
It's such a drag to text somebody, and then they, like, respond, like, a day after. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I want to know right now. Just
Yes.
answer the phone. Okay, what about learning new technology? So, what is worse, growing up with the internet like we did, or having to adapt to this rapidly changing technology mid-career?
Like, what do
Like
you?
AI, like things that
Oh,
are coming up with AI, and just all the, I feel like everything's changing so quickly, even within this industry, where there's just new tools all the time. Do you think that that's harder to keep up with?
I think that might be a bit hard to keep up with because it's coming in at such a rapid pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like being modified like every day. And honestly, myself, sometimes I kind of steer away from using that stuff because at the end of the day, like, that's artificial intelligence and, especially the trade that I work in, HVAC, it's a lot of hands-on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely want to go back and rely on that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like at the end of the day, it's a trade that I'll have in my back pocket. It's always going to be in demand. But definitely, yeah, that stuff, it's rising up pretty quickly. Sometimes myself, I have trouble, like, like they like have like AI built into homework nowadays. It's just kind of shocking
Yeah.
to see, but it's something that's like you have to adapt very quickly.
I would agree with that because I feel like we had teachers who would teach us about how to use it, and a lot of times the technology's changing so fast. I feel like the teachers can't even keep up.
Yeah.
Right.
I noticed my son's in elementary school. My oldest son is in elementary school, and they are using a type of AI that is assessing their reading levels and skills, and um, it grades them. It gives them a certain score, and they've taken it 3 times throughout this school year. And I myself have noticed that he is reading much more fluently than when he started the school year, but his score doesn't necessarily showcase that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel like I can't really trust it because they're using AI to generate the scores.
I
out of
definitely
that.
feel that because it's like AI, it's not like a real thing. I feel like definitely what I've seen as a high school student, a lot of these kids, they're not learning the material
Right.
because
Yeah.
they go and they, put it into AI and they're not actually grasping anything. And it has a lot to do with also we've like switched from like, just regular notebooks to using laptops.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that stuff is just going into a Word document. We never look back into it. We never, a lot of kids, they don't go and look back on their notes like how it would be like if you're actually writing it. I feel like that has a lot to do with it. You kind of actually grasp it mentally. So I feel like this has, AI and stuff, it has really impacted our generation, how they're learning. It has its pros and its cons, but, firsthand in my school, it's definitely, impacting how these kids, kind of like
Yeah.
do their work.
Yeah. There's something to be said for that because I keep a digital calendar, but I also have a dry erase calendar on
Yeah.
my refrigerator that I write everything so everybody in the family can see it.
Uh-huh.
And there's like they've said there's studies that the science behind writing it really like imprints it more into your brain.
Yes,
than
definitely.
just typing it out. for
Exactly.
sure.
My last one is kind of about music on the job. So, what do you think's better, being able to jam out on a stereo with your coworkers, the open music, and the whole workshop or whatever, or listening to your AirPods, streaming music from your iPhone?
Definitely, I would personally say in like as a whole, everybody listen to it as a whole, because what I've found out is that I could look so different from like a 50-year-old tech, big old man, and at the end of the day, you find out that you guys listen to the same type of music, and that could be something that ultimately you guys get in common a lot with. So, I definitely love to listen to all genres of music. Sometimes when I tell people what kind of music I listen to, they kind of get shocked, especially the older generation. It's at the end of the day, it's something that you guys can bond over and stuff. And,
Yeah.
Recently I have, before every competition, I do have like my ultimate song. I'm
You have a
so
hype
obsessed
song?
with. Yes, it's. Do you
What
guys
is
know
it?
the song by Phil Collins, "In the Air Tonight"?
Yes, yes.
That
I
song,
love it.
that song is my foundation. I listen to it before every competition. It's like a ritual, and then before like every practice where it's like, oh, I'm just not feeling it today. I just go back to that song. That's it's great that there's these different types of genres and stuff, and at the end of the day, you guys can relate to it about it.
So, is that your favorite type of music?
I like 80s music a lot, but I love like all types of genres, like
Yeah.
hip hop, country, whatever. I'm a big fan of music, and I'm trying to get into guitar, so I might buy a guitar soon. Yes.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think listening with the whole group, it
Yeah.
gives you something to talk about.
Exactly.
It gives you something to bond over. So I do think that could be fun. But I usually am the AirPod person.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's like times where it's like, oh man, like I just want to listen to my music.
Yeah.
Or, you have like music where it's like you don't really tell anybody about. You guys kind of listen to it in like, in private. I definitely have some songs like that.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, I love to share just, music brings a lot of people together, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with her. I want to listen all
With
together.
everybody,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for coming.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
so
you guys for
really
having
great.
me. I
Yeah.
had a great time, honestly.
Oh, that's awesome. That's all we have for today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.
All right, we need a
Okay.
picture.
That's
Before
fine.
you go, I need a picture for our socials.